Hi guys, welcome to Vision World. This channel is for the people who are interested in learning new things in science and technology. To know more and to stay connected, please visit the links in the description below.
In this tutorial, you will learn about astable multivibrator using 555 timer IC and its simulation on Multisim software. You can download this software, the student version of this software from the internet for free. We will provide the link in the description of this video. Now before starting, one must know about 555 timer IC. If you know it's good, otherwise you can visit our website visionworld.in. Here we have uploaded an article about 555 timer. Let me show you. See, this is our article. From this article, you can get a better knowledge about 555 timer, how it is used as astable and monostable multivibrator. So do give it a proper reading, and we will provide the link for this article also in the description. Now let's come back to our article. First, we have to look at 555 timer IC and its internal circuit. See, this is the 555 timer IC. It has 8 pins: ground, trigger, output, reset, control voltage, threshold, discharge, and VCC. You can learn about these pins from the article. I leave that part to you. Now we come to the internal circuit. Here you can see that there is a voltage divider circuit and there are two comparators, 1 and 2. As you can see, due to this voltage divider network, the potential at the inverting terminal of comparator 1 is at 2/3 VCC and the non-inverting terminal of comparator 2 is at 1/3 VCC potential. The output from both these comparators goes into the flip-flop. Now this is an RS flip-flop. And at last we have a transistor here which controls the flow of current, and it is connected to the discharge terminal of the IC, and also we have here at the output terminal 3 of the IC. Now let's move to astable multivibrator. See, this is a basic circuit of astable multivibrator. Now I will explain the working. See, when this circuit is initialized, potential at the threshold pin. Wait, let me show you the internal circuit. The potential at this threshold pin is less than 2/3 VCC. Therefore, this comparator will give output low. Now, why this happened? Because comparator output depends on the voltage at these two terminals. If the potential at non-inverting terminal is greater than the potential at inverting terminal, then the output of the comparator is 1, otherwise 0. So in this case, the output from comparator 1 is 0. And for comparator 2, here voltage at the trigger input will be less than 1/3 VCC, and trigger input is connected to the inverting terminal. Therefore, the output of comparator 2 will be 1. Now the flip-flop inputs are 0 and 1. Now let's recall the truth table of RS flip-flop. You see, this is the truth table of RS flip-flop. When R is 0 and S is 1, the output is high. And here in our circuit, the output is connected to the complement of the flip-flop output. So this point is at low, therefore the transistor is in off state, hence there won't be any discharging. So the external capacitor of this basic circuit of astable multivibrator will charge initially. Okay. Now when this capacitor charges, the potential at the trigger pin and at the threshold pin keeps on increasing. See, these two pins, the potential at these two pins keeps on increasing. Now what happens is, when the potential at this trigger input becomes greater than 1/3 VCC, the comparator 2 output switches from 1 to 0, because now the inverting terminal potential is greater than the potential at non-inverting terminal. So now what inputs we have for flip-flop? 0 and 0. Now let's come back to the truth table. Here you can see that 0, when R and S are 0, 0, then the flip-flop is in hold state, which means the flip-flop retains its previous output. So capacitor is still charging. Now when potential at threshold pin, that is pin number 6, becomes greater than 2/3 VCC, then the output of comparator 1 also changes. Initially it was 0, now it is 1. Now the flip-flop inputs are 1 and 0. Here you can see from this table that when R is 1 and S is 0, the output is low and hence the complement is high. Now since complement gives high output, which means the transistor is now in on state. Now at this point the capacitor starts discharging. This cycle keeps repeating itself and we get our desired wave. Now let me show you the wave. Here you can see in this figure that when the capacitor is charging between 1 by 3 VCC and 2 by 3 VCC, output is high, and while it is discharging, the output is low. So this is how basically a astable multivibrator works. So do give this article a read. You will find more about astable multivibrator here. So now let's come to the simulation part. We will make an astable multivibrator whose duty cycle we can vary between 0 and 100%. Here in this article, where we studied this basic astable multivibrator, we saw an output waveform with around 50% duty cycle. We will now in Multisim we will make a circuit with variable duty cycle. This is our Multisim screen. As you can see, I have already made a circuit. Don't worry, I will make the circuit again. I did this only to show what output we are getting. When I switch on the circuit, as you can see here, we are getting our output. Now by changing this potentiometer value, we are getting different duty cycles. Now you must be wondering how this circuit is working. I'll explain that. First let me close this. Now you remember the internal transistor of the IC here. This transistor. Initially it is in off state. Now when the current starts flowing through the VCC, it in this circuit which I have made, in this circuit when the current starts flowing through VCC, it first flows through this R1 resistance, then it goes to the diode S1. Now why it didn't go in this direction? Because here the S2 diode is reverse bias, so current flows through diode S1. Now from S1 it goes to the potentiometer, and then from here, since transistor is in off state, it does not go towards the IC, the current flows towards the external capacitor C and hence charges it. Now the charging and discharging part I have already explained. So this capacitor charges till 2 by 3 VCC and then discharges, and hence this variable resistance is responsible for the amount of current flowing through the capacitor and hence the time it takes to charge and discharge. So this is how this circuit is working. So we will open a new window, and here in this new window what you have to do is first you have to go to this place component. Here you can see this group, and from here you can select whatever you want, and in this basic section you can find resistors, capacitors, inductors, transformers and many more, and you can go to this analog section to take your component like op-amp and many more. So here we need a 555 timer IC. I will go to the all groups, and here in search I will write 555 timer, and here you can select any one. I'm selecting the virtual one. So here I got my 555 timer. Now we need two diodes. One. Now we need a potentiometer. See, we have two potentiometers. Here we will select the rated one. We can see how much resistance we are changing, and we need resistors. We will go to the basic section. Here we will select resistors. We will place our required resistor, and we need two capacitors. This will be our external capacitor. Now all the basic components are placed. Now we need supply. For it we will go to sources, here power sources, and here you can see VCC. Here I will place VCC, and now we need ground. Place 2-3 grounds so that circuit look simple. Now we have placed all the required components. Now the only thing which we have to do is make connections. Here I have completed the connections. You can refer the circuit diagram from the article and connect accordingly. It is not that difficult. It is actually really easy to connect all these components. Now you must be wondering where this came from. This is an oscilloscope to see the output waveform. You see this section at the right edge here. From here you can find your oscilloscope. It must be the fourth. Now you can easily place it. You just have to connect the positive terminal to the point where the output has to be measured and the negative terminal to the ground. Okay. Now to check the output waveform, you have to double click on the oscilloscope. But first you have to turn on the circuit. Here I have turned on the circuit. Now when I double click it, I can see my output. And you can see here, this is exactly like the physical oscilloscope that we see in our labs. Here we have channel 1 and channel 2 to differentiate the input and output or whatever waveforms we are showing. Here we are showing the square output and the capacitor waveform, for how much time it is charging and for how much time it is discharging. You can change this scale to accordingly whatever you find fit, and this reverse button changes the background. See, from black I have turned it to white. Now when you change the potentiometer value, you can see that our duty cycle has been changed. Now when I reduce the potentiometer to its left terminal, you can see that charging time has been reduced so much and discharging time has been increased with the same amount. Now this is the least duty cycle we were able to achieve using this circuit. And when we take the potentiometer to the right extreme, you can see this is the maximum duty cycle we could achieve. Now I have entered these observations in my article. Wait, let me show you. See, these are the values. When I reduce the potentiometer to its left extreme, I got around 15% of duty cycle, and with the right extreme I got around 92% of the duty cycle. You can check with any value of your own. So we were able to achieve our results, and so this is it for this tutorial.
If you like our work and want to learn more, please support us by giving us a like and do share the video. Don't forget to subscribe and press the bell icon to get a notification whenever a new video is uploaded.